HUTT Space was one of the rare independent areas that neither Republic or CIS hoped to engage militarily. But the HUTT seemed certain to stay out of this war and just make credits. Sidious and Dooku came up with the idea to manipulate Jabba via his love for his son, Rhoda. Part of this would require bringing the war to the Outer Rim and close to HUTT Space. By making the Republic look desperate to gain access to the HUTT's hyperroutes, crucial for keeping supplies and reinforcements delivered to key battles far from the core, they would frame the Republic as the ones to capture Rhoda in a bid to force the HUTTs to comply with them. The first part of this would be to draw the Republic to Christophsis. General Worm Loathsome would lead the ground forces, while the renowned Admiral Trench led the ships out in space enforcing the blockade. By sweeping through civilian centers causing massive casualties, it drew the likes of Bail Organa and aid workers, who were eventually trapped, forcing a brazen mission led by Skywalker that did take out Trench's flagship. But by now, Ventress had grown to excel in manipulating young men with every skill under her belt. With a combination of seduction, force mind tricks, and playing on genuine resentment in the clone trooper Sergeant Slick, this man would forsake his brothers for the promise of riches and liberation from his Kaminoan slavers. With Slick leaking data, the Separatists could craft the war on Christophsis to further trap the Republic in this quagmire, where defeat always seemed to be snatched from the jaws of victory. Intuiting that something was off here, clones captured the head of tactical droid TJ-55, and poking around in his droid mind, they confirmed that there was a spy. All the while, Slick had been planting explosives throughout his base, and when Cody and Rex expose him, they are set off as the traitor tried to escape. Meanwhile, Ventress had drawn Kenobi and Anakin into a battle just to waste their time, theatrically revealing herself, getting in a clash of sabers just to feign a forfeit, and drop them through a damaged floor, using these few seconds reprieve to escape out a window and onto the bulbous head of a massive Octoptara tri-droid. Behind her, the Jedi can see the true scale of this larger wave of droid forces in this ever-escalating conflict. Unswayed, they move to slash the droid's legs, and the trio tumble to the surface, Jedi escaping via speeder while Ventress leaps to safety. Now she would carry out the most bold aspect of this plan, flying to Tatooine and swooping down on a sail barge with the tentacled Trident-class assault ship, whisking the young HUTT away in a brazen alien abduction just miles from Jabba's palace. And it was from one Ba'omar monk monastery to another, setting up operations on Teth. Jabba's bounty hunters were the first to track her down, but their heads were sent back to their employer. When General Loathsome was captured by Kenobi and the Republic had taken control of Christophsis, they were able to act on intel gained by ARF troopers. By covering the platforms with anti-air weapons, the Republic had to rely on ATTEs to make the climb up the sheer cliff wall. And when they took the top, she had 4A7 come out to greet them. His mission was really to draw them deeper into the labyrinthine structure. Once they find Rhoda, their frame job was complete when Anakin, whose own mother was sold by Gardulla the HUTT, and most humans on Tatooine just hated the HUTTs in general, you could see his disdain for this child as the Jedi pair stuffed the son into a backpack. Dooku was on Tatooine and immediately showed this to Jabba, who in his outrage promised allegiance if his son could be rescued. Ventress slips off to join the CIS counterforce, hoping to corner the Jedi in their monastery. Ventress slashes through the main door controls, and in a short battle it appears as if most of the clones were killed. But a surge in the force alerted her to a bolt fired by a body slumped in the corner. The clone was CT-7567, Rex, and she was quick to force choke him into submission, using a mind trick to try and have him lure Anakin back. Rex was an unusual clone in many ways, with skills and intelligence more on par with a CC, a clone commander like Cody, but there were many other intangibles that Anakin was quick to pick up on in their time together. Through great strength, he is able to defy her control just enough to be informal in his call, using the general's first name, and this tips the Jedi off that he must be captured.
Anakin, come in.
Anakin?
We've held the droid, sir.
That's not like Rex.
What is your location?
Her droids alert her to Republic forces that just arrive, and feeling the pressure, she races wildly into the dark halls to cut them off before they can escape. R2 locks another blast door, but she carves through it in seconds. Dwarf spider droids are barraging their platform from below, and by the time Ventress gets through, she just finds Anakin's pet, the Padawan Ahsoka Tano. This fight is excellent in showing just how much of a natural fighter Tano was. Keeping up with Ventress, even for this amount of time, is impressive. But if you look close, you can see Ventress's mastery of the dual saber style, bashing the green blade with both, then just keeping one lock to the side so she can sweep at Tano's head. Anakin swoops in on Cancel to end the fight just as the platform gave way from the DSD-1 fire. When a B-1 interrupts to say that Dooku was calling, her anger bursts and she sends it flying over the edge. When she does call back, he is clear that failure will be judged not just by him, but by his master.
I understand, Master. I will double my efforts.
I hope so. For your sake.
Moments later, she hears Kenobi approaching. She draws him deeper into the darkness of the monastery, but his verbal jabs provoke her to pounce. His saber form was mostly Form 3, also known as Soresu, or the Way of the Minok, and it was actually developed to repel heavy blaster fire, but ends up being great for swiftly reacting to a pair of blades coming at you. Sensing that her dual blade style was ineffective, she uses a feature that makes her sabers one of the most unique of all time. There was great talk among the Old Republic era Sith, all the way down to the martial philosophy of Maul, on how double-bladed lightsabers had an advantage in both intimidation, but also at a practical level gave you unique angles that if you didn't specifically train against could be really jarring to keep up with. This vector of attack idea is why Dooku's curved saber had similar advantages, by Ventress being able to connect them, moving her from dual blades to a double blade. With each of those being curved in a different direction, it provides a subtly unique angle of attack. And the fact that Obi-Wan can handle this effortlessly, and we can almost be certain he had no experience against this exact type of saber. It just points towards my idea that Kenobi should really be held up there with Yoda and Mace Windu when people talk about the best swordsman in the Order. Because he slashes right through this contraption, even catching her dual blades and using the momentum to fling one out of her hand over the catwalk. Her wristband turns green, showing that her ride was here, and she leaps over the edge to catch a vulture droid out of there. In her next call to Dooku, she lies in Jabba's presence, saying Skywalker already killed the boy, and implies that he was on his way to Tatooine to kill Papa Hutt next.
Skywalker had already killed him.
Ventress is lucky that Dooku failed to stop him, so she wasn't the only one to blame, and the Jedi do return the child while Padme reveals the plot to zero. With Rhoda safely in his father's arms, the Republic did secure a major strategic victory, with navigation through HUTT Space being crucial in removing some of the CIS advantages in the Outer Rim. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full video here.